without flashing the screen.
Yeah, you're good.
We're good.
You're good.
Good morning. Are you all comfortable? I feel the room is slightly lopsided. Are you all sitting in the same chairs you always sit? No, Laura, you in a different seat last week. We comfy where we are?
Yes.
Okay, good morning. Take a moment, let go of the heat or whatever is in your mind at the moment. Absolutely. Just let me know if anything's distracting you from going on outside. People walking past isn't always helpful. You're right, it's a bit stuffy. So take that moment, let go of anything that you brought into the room, and bring your presence here. Okay, what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to turn the clicker on first of all. Come in. Naughty girl.
Story of my life.
You haven't missed anything.
We missed you.
Oh, we all love you. We were saying, where is she? Where is she?
Where's Amy?
So today we're going to talk about beginner's mind. And the concept that a lot of the time we apply a preconceived idea of something onto a situation that may not warrant it. That we bring a little bit of baggage with regards to people, situations, tasks and challenges. And that maybe we would benefit from looking at them afresh, anew, with different eyes. And we're going to look at emails and the broader subject of digital communication and how if we're not careful, that can sort of run our lives and we can get lost in the vacuum in the abyss of digital communication. But there are ways where we can start to make sure that it's working for us rather than the other way around. And I'm going to give you 7 tips to help potentially utilising them.
Wow, that was not my
Really?
fault.
Was
I'm
that-
back with people in there. What's going on up there?
The word I thought I had. Fantastic. I'm definitely going to use this video. This is the problem with doors and windows open. We're increasing the potential for distraction. So, how was your week? Who has practiced every day? Well, let's go 1 in each group to practice every day.
Some of them are like 5 minutes. But
It doesn't matter. The most important thing is consistency. Even if you're only doing a couple of minutes, it doesn't matter. Just doing it every day is going to help to cement those neural pathways. And when we're taking breaks, it's not the greatest. Who's managed about 5 times a week? 2? Or more? All right.
Running's out, so I just have not made that happen.
You haven't been able to make it happen? Okay.
A few times going to sleep, but then I fall asleep before it happens.
Before what happened? What are you waiting to happen?
I'm supposed to be mindful and attentive. I'm not attentive when I'm sleepy.
Do you follow your breath when you're lying there for a moment or two?
A moment or two.
Then that's something. That's something, isn't it? Be kind to yourself. You're doing more than you potentially think you are. Did anyone manage a random act of kindness? To themselves or to others? Yes? Excellent. I think we should try and keep that up, but it's entirely up to you. Okay? How did we feel when we did it? Doesn't it make you feel good when we come? Yeah? Super. And who? Has anyone tried the idea of coming in and planning before jumping to action? Not yet. Yes? Yes? Does it work? Oh my god, you're like,
I don't
it's
even
like
know
magic!
what to do with myself half the time.
What do you mean?
I get so planned and step by step that after I'm done with everything, I'm like, I can go file, or I can go do things that I thought I didn't have time for.
Isn't it amazing? When we remove those distractions and we're not trying to multitask, we're reducing the amount of time that we're wasting. We're actually focused, and when we're really focused, we get things done quicker. We're not making mistakes. Instead, with less anxiety, and suddenly we've got more time. It's that slowing down to speed up by taking that time to plan and then following it through when we can. Doors open, room creates itself, space appears. Yeah?
I blame my planning on Jess.
On Jess, why?
Yeah. Which I saw her planner book in a meeting, and since then, Robert and I bought that, and now I'm like,
That's great.
I plan too much.
Plagiarism, there's no such thing as a new idea, is there? Plagiarise, plagiarise, plagiarise. Take best practice. We should be sharing this. This is one of the virtues of getting together in a group and sharing our experiences over the week. What's worked for one person might work for someone else. It might not, but if it resonates, it's worth trying. One of the things I said to the other group was that what works, works. If you have something, if something resonates with you, you like it for whatever reason, and it doesn't matter what the reason is, give it a go. It's not important that you then keep it, it's just important that you see how it works. And if it works for you, keep it. Was that two fingers salute
Yeah.
making a point? I'm not sure.
Oh, me, no.
No, okay.
Well, I took a half hour with Patty. Well, Patty took a half hour with me and showed me how to use my new calendar in a new way to help me organize, and that saved me way more than a half an hour.
Well, that's great. Okay, good stuff.
Contact Patty if you want to be organized.
There you go.
Some of the virtue of these workshops is just getting together in the same room and knowing you're on the same team. And actually knowing who you can talk to and listening to people who have ideas, who do things differently from you, and then taking those. Okay, well at the end of the day, what we're looking at with mindfulness is being conscious in our lives and choosing what we want to do, as opposed to being mindless and allowing our lives to just sort of happen. Having those goals and then making deliberate decisions about what we do. Alright? And if you're making a deliberate decision to ask someone to help you because you know you're not great at something or you could do something better or it sounds like someone's got a better idea, that's being mindful to them. Yeah? Good stuff. Okay, so take a moment please. Set your intention for the session, for the day, for the week, whatever it is that's important to you. Beginner's mind. Here's an idea. Your mind creates your reality. And if you accept that, then the bigger question is, who's controlling your mind? Now, I'm not a neuroscientist, don't worry. I'm not a quantum physicist or quantum mechanic or even a psychologist. I'm an amateur psychologist, as I suspect most of us are. We're not going to go really deep into this because that would, people's brains starting to blow up already, certainly mine. What we are going to do is conduct a little experiment. Who sees the cat going clockwise? Put your hands up. That way. No one see? There we go, one, and me, so that's two. Who sees it going the other way? Anyone see it going both ways yet?
I'm trying really hard.
What are you trying hard to do? Change it?
To see it going the other way.
Try really hard to make it go the other way. Go on. See what happens. I'm not doing anything. This is an optical illusion. You are controlling the cat. Your brain is controlling the cat. I see it going that way.
No, they're all.
Now I do.
No way. No, I
Switch.
can't.
I've never seen it go the other way.
No, it goes like
Either.
this.
No,
It
I
goes
can't.
counter.
I
Does it
can't
say
see
something
it
about
the other
what
way.
side is
It's all
regular?
over the road.
It's going. Tracy, but now it's clock.
going
Oh, now
the
it's
way.
going counterclockwise.
So who's right?
Oh, me.
Probably both are.
Who said that? Why?
Our brains work differently.
So wait a minute, so seriously, some of us really saw it going this way and some of us.
Absolutely.
It's just like those Facebook things
What
on
about
track,
those
right?
that saw it both
I
ways?
know, but that's really messed up.
I don't know. Any special?
That is visible.
Yes, but.
Okay. Let go of the cat if you can. I practiced. I tried to talk over the spinning cat in the earlier. No one was paying any attention to me. Why are you not going the other way from me? No one's right, no one's wrong. The point is very, very simple. We can all see the same thing differently because of what our brains. Because I don't understand entirely the wiring of your brain and what it is, but one way or another, you're all bringing different experiences, different conditioning to that cat, and that is leading to you seeing it go one way or the other, or both. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no good, there's no bad. There is just different perspectives. Okay? Maybe in this circumstance you are applying something that has happened before as opposed to seeing how it really is. But who can ever say how it really is? Because it's only ever really something to you. Perception is everything, perception is reality. close it off in a second as well, because you're just going to watch the cats go
Still
there.
won't
See?
go the other way.
You just can't let it go. You're children, a lot of you. This is the concept of cognitive rigidity. The idea that we bring a preconceived notion about someone, something, and apply it to something in front of us. So we never really see the true reality of what's in front of us. We see what we think it should be, or what it was. Yeah, just to give an example, imagine the first time you see a rose. Your brain looks at the rose, maybe you touch the rose, maybe you smell the rose, maybe you find out that there are thorns on the stem, and your brain catalogues all this, takes a snapshot and labels it and sticks it away in the library of your memory. The next time you see a rose, for a split second, you might actually see the rose in front of you. Before your brain takes over, recognises it as a rose and says, that's a rose, and everything about a rose is the first thing you saw. Where this rose might smell differently, might be tasty. Anyone eating? I think I might have eaten a rose before, but that's another story. Tasted, touched. It might feel different, it might smell different, it might look different, it might have less thorns, more thorns, but you have the idea that it is what you first saw. Does that make sense? Is this a useful skill of our brain?
In some instances.
Let's have an example.
I just think it would be useful in some instances.
Well, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
No, there are numerous tasks out there. If we were constantly walking around in a state of childlike wonder, what's that? What's that funny thing with all those? That's really, what's that? What do you do? What are those? If you're constantly walking around like that, you're not going to be very effective. You're not going to get anything done. So it's very useful for tasks which we can do, which we need to do on autopilot, which we need to do on flow. If I was driving, going, what does that pedal do? What's that? All the time, or that one. It's not going to be hugely efficient. So it's useful for rudimentary routine tasks. But might it be hindering us in other ways? Might it be hindering us if we're applying a preconceived notion of Jess? The first time I met her, I have this idea of her. Now every time I see her, I think of that. Am I ever truly seeing the real person in this particular moment? Are you the same? Are you the same as the first time we met? We're changing constantly, aren't we? Everything about us is changing. So the second time we see something, the third time we see something, the fourth time we see something, if we're not careful, if we're not conscious, we're not seeing what's in front of us, we're seeing the snapshot in our brain of the first time. Making sense? Resonating? Okay. Recap very briefly. And move on.
Yes. I think one the other
Did
way.
you go the other way?
The other way.
Oh my
Both
God.
going.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Let's talk about rats. These rats are, which way is the rat going? It's not moving in any way whatsoever. So there was a study done recently where where sensors were attached to rats, and rats were then put through a maze with chocolate in it. And the study was to determine what happens with their brainwaves. And the first time the rat went in, the conditions were the same each time. There was a click, the door would open, the rat went in, the door closed behind it, it saw whatever it saw, it smelled some chocolate, it went around the maze, it found the chocolate. Its brain waves were pretty high continually because this is the first time. First time we see something, we tend to be pretty active. First time we do something, we're pretty active. Yes? Makes sense? The second, third, fourth time, several rounds, suddenly there's an area of autopilot where brain activity drops off. And the conclusions from that were that the rats had gone onto autopilot. They were now making assumptions about the reality based on experience. So, click, door's going to open. Door's open, reinforces. Door closed behind me, reinforces. I smell chocolate, excellent, I know where the chocolate is. This looks exactly the same. Well, what if it had changed? Could it have changed? It could absolutely have changed. They could have changed the maze behind the door. They could have moved the chocolate. It could have just been down the other side. But the rat was making assumptions based on that, so perhaps not really seeing, not exploring, not being curious, not seeing the reality in front of them. Make sense? So the question is, where do you want to be? What's important to you? Do you want to be on autopilot all of the time? Or are there occasions when it's appropriate to actually be curious, to try to see with a fresh perspective, to try to really see what's in front of us? That's all right. Everyone's tired. It's okay. Because we're constantly overwhelmed in this paid reality. You have comments? Okay. used to think that this concept of see reality as it really is was really fluffy. What does that mean? See reality? What do you mean this is reality? And then I realised that what they really mean is pay attention to what is in front of you and see what's there. If your mind creates a reality, have a look. What is actually there? It's no dramatic concept or fluffy concept or anything along those lines. It's just pay attention. See what is in front of you. Does it make sense? And this is the concept of a beginner's mind. Trying to see with fresh eyes rather than imposing this cognitive rigidity on everything. Now there are times when we need to let that happen, as we've mentioned, but there may very well be times when we want to see things differently, see a new perspective, really try and understand. Does that make sense? Is this resonating? Yeah. Is the breeze working? Now this isn't just a broad life concept. This is also a concept that can be really useful in business because it's good for problem solving. Because how can we solve a problem? How can a mind solve a problem without changing its perspective? The mind's created the problem. We've got to look at things differently. Definition of insanity? Is that what we have a tendency to do at times? Apply the same thinking, the same reasoning to different situations and expect something different to happen. Yeah? It's not always appropriate. Okay, so the opposite of cognitive rigidity is cognitive flexibility. And this is the idea that I cannot change you, I cannot change a circumstance, but I most certainly can change the way I look at you, the way I listen, the way I look at a problem, the way I try to interrogate it. Making sense? And of course we have something that we're trying to do daily that we can utilise to help us with this. Then our ABCD training, because there's a study done a while back where there were two groups. There was a control group who'd done no mindfulness training and the group who'd done mindfulness training. They were both presented with three problems. The problems on the face of it would appear very similar because they used the same glasses, the same water. But the first two times they had to do them, what they actually had to do was very complex. The third time was very simple. The first group, who'd done no mindfulness training, found it very, very difficult, nigh impossible, to see the simple solution to the third problem. Arguably, and the conclusion being, that they had got so used to the complexity, they were seeing a complex problem because it looked the same components, the same resources, water and glasses. In their heads they were applying this is complex because that was their learned behaviour. The mindfulness group managed to see the simplicity. Managed to open their minds and see with fresh eyes and appreciate what was in front of them as opposed to applying experience on something previous. Make sense? Now, we're not saying that you as experts in your field need to let go of all your expertise, all your experience and see everything with fresh eyes. That would be ridiculous. But it is the idea that specifically when you are an expert, to not believe that you know the answer, whatever you see. To not think that just because I've experienced this, I've done this before, this looks very similar, excellent, we can apply the same logic. Is that always going to help you? Certainly didn't help Donald Rumsfeld when he was applying, I know I'm going to use this every week, when Donald Rumsfeld applied the logic of the Iraq war to the Afghanistan. It looked the same. It was a dusty, dirty country, full of desert, similar sort of enemy, in a similar sort of way. They applied what had succeeded from one place into another without realising that the circumstances and the situation were really, really difficult, really different. I equate it to the concept of active listening. What's active listening? That's not a rhetorical question.
Being really engaged and present with
What's our intention?
to be open.
Yeah, to be open to understand. It's listening in order to understand as opposed to listening to make a point. The when we're not active listening, we listen to somebody until we hear something or we've decided something, and then we stop listening, and then we're waiting to make our point. When the conversation ends, or there's a breath, oh, well, I think this, look at me. Whereas if we'd actually continued to listen, maybe our point would have been different, because we might have understood the whole point that they were making, as opposed to just up to a moment where something resonated with us. So active listening is listening to understand, listening holistically. Cognitive flexibility is looking at a problem holistically, not looking at it just until it fits a pattern of previous behaviour or something that makes it easy for us, but actually really trying to interrogate it, be curious, take a different perspective, see it for what it is, and then make a decision as to whether or not, as to what the solution is. It might be something from before, but it might not. Does that make sense? When is it difficult to apply a beginner's mind?
When you're stressed out, when you're under pressure to get something done and you can't really be creative or feel like you can take that space to take a
You're so busy all the time. How can you possibly do this? How can you have time? You've just got to get things done, haven't you? Just got to keep going. Just got to find a solution, but that's the easy solution, that'll do. Does that work in a life and death situation? Is that really the optimal way of working in a hospital or the military or something like that? It's really hard to work out how to do it, because when do you stop planning? When do you stop thinking? When do you stop interrogating? Because surely, how do you know when you've got a real solution? It's not easy. It isn't easy, but this is, I think there's a concept of slowing down to speed up here again as well. If we slow down and really take the time to appreciate it, we have a better chance of finding the right, of understanding the problem, of finding the right solution, than we do if we're trying to do things quickly and looking for the easy route. And one of my tips for doing this, because we don't have much time, is to work out when you need to make an answer. When do you need to make a decision? Because you probably know when. And then give yourself a period of time up until that to do your analysis. And keep doing the analysis during that time. Don't stop when you think you've got the answer. Keep doing, keep understanding. Does that make sense? And then when you have to make a decision, make a decision. And no, that's the best you can possibly do. We can't always be right, we can only do our best. But we're not, arguably we're not doing our best if we're just looking at it until it's a pattern that's repeated for us. So we might then be applying an inappropriate template, and that means you might have to do the problem again. Equally, if we're talking to a person, if we're judging them on what we have, on an original idea and a preconceived idea of them, are we ever really seeing the person? Are we ever really engaging with the person? Are we ever really able to understand what they're talking about, where they're coming from, and be able to help them? Possibly not. Make sense? So the challenge is to observe everything for the first time. What do you choose? Choose something. Choose a relationship, choose a situation, choose a task, choose a challenge. Choose something where you know you have cognitive rigidity. Because we all do. At some point, with some people, with some situations. So, oh my God, he's just going to... No. All he ever does is this. Well, you know, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. He's going to walk in here, or I'm going to walk in there, and he's going to say this, and then I'm going to... Are you sure? If we walk in there with that idea, then that's probably what's going to happen. Or if we walk in there saying, you know what, I'm going to be open, I'm going to try and see beyond. And the way to do that, the way to enable us to do it, as always, is to do it in our practice. Is to notice that every breath that we take is completely new. You've never taken that breath before, you will never take it again. Every out-breath, completely new. Every distraction, every experience, whether the experience is one that comes from one of your senses or it comes from your mind. It may appear the same, but it isn't. It's one way or another, you're different, and one way or another, the experience is different. Does that make sense? You're very quiet. You're listening for thunder. Okay. So no questions? Alright. Then let's move on. We're great. Who didn't make it last week? Well, I'm going to give you a pass to move on to graduate onto open awareness training today. Okay, so this is the next level. We've been using up until this point, we've been using our breath as the anchor for our attention. Today we're going to try to cultivate not so much the specificity of our attention, but our open awareness. We're going to use our distractions and our experiences as our anchor. So we're going to sit, we're going to spend a couple of minutes relaxing and getting ready into the right position, and then instead of focusing on our breath, we're going to open our awareness and notice our distractions. When we notice a distraction, we're going to observe it objectively, and relax, release, and return to open awareness rather than to avoid. Does that make sense? Does everyone understand that? Now, if that's too much for you, if that feels too much and it starts to get a little crazy and you just find yourself constantly distracted, be kind to yourself, be patient, that's okay. Just come back to your breath. Alright? Give it a go. With one person in the last group, it really worked for her. It resonated with her for whatever reason. If it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't. But give it a go. Alright. You want to shut the doors? Be less distracted for this moment? I think there'll be plenty, don't you worry. Is it going to be too hot with the doors closed, or?
Probably.
Leave them open?
It'll be
You're
fine.
practicing.
It's only for a minute.
I'll go home and put my noise cancelling headphones on, I'll be fine.
We're thinking like beginners. You don't have preconceived notions about what it's supposed to be like.
Anyone would think she was actually practicing outside this session. Maybe you just don't need to. Okay, here we go. Find your way in that comfortable, relaxed, grounded, balanced position. You're safe here. Let it go. Notice your feet on the floor. Notice the floor underneath your feet. So your back is nice and straight. Relax your head, neck, shoulders. Listen to the rain. Relax, release, and return. Your arms are relaxed, your hands resting lightly wherever it is. Close your eyes or leave them open. Soft focus on the complex reality. And take a minute to you need to take a couple of deep breaths. Notice where there's tension in your body. Very good. There is something else around. Any thoughts or observations?
The rain kind of got through the time where I couldn't hear it all.
Why do you think that?
I was focusing on the next thing, and then came back around and I don't know what the rain was.
The rain was a constant pretty much, wasn't
Yeah.
it? But did we all notice that at times we didn't notice it? It's the same principle as if your leg's hurting and you want to stop feeling your leg, hurt your arm. Because you're thinking about your arm. Where our attention goes, our energy flows. Yeah, if we don't pay attention to something, we don't give it any energy, it disappears. But we need to anchor our attention on something else in order for that to happen. Does that make sense? Okay, good, great observation. That was maybe that was perfect. Does everything happen for a reason? I don't know. But it was really? I thought it was an interesting one. There are so many distractions.
I'm just worried about your camera because I could feel the rain coming in on me.
Oh.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it's above it.
Okay.
It should be above the
Okay.
ground.
Oh, totally. I kept thinking about,
Another
like, should I
distraction.
get up? Should I, like, close the window? I don't want the camera to be ruined. Stop it.
That's okay. Don't worry. Thank you for your concern, though. But part of the thought is you don't need to add distractions. You don't need to open doors to make it harder for yourself. Distractions will find you. Don't worry. Okay. Sometimes, sit there with noise-cancelling headphones on. I can still feel. I can still hear. I can still sense, etc. Things are coming all over the place. All right. Okay, let's move on. So emails and the broader subject of digital communication, because it's more than emails. The emails specifically here because arguably they're the most specific to work. But they're not the only thing that we allow ourselves to be distracted by when we're at work, are they? I think we probably allow ourselves to be distracted by other forms of digital communication, digital interaction, other digital distractions. And let's not forget that this technology is extraordinary. It's extraordinary. And it's developed and can be hugely useful and can help us to communicate with other people. It can help us in huge amounts of ways. It can help us at work. But what we've got to learn to do, if we're not already doing it, is harness it for our benefit, as opposed to allow it to be this abyss, this vortex that every now and then we sort of disappear into. Now and emerge, go, what was I doing? Yes? That concept sort of resonates. So I'm going to give you 7 tips towards the shortly, and the challenge will be for you to choose one to apply subsequently, and to not think of them just in terms of emails, but whatever it is that you find yourself using as a distraction, and to see if they apply to it and how you can help yourself by doing something with it. Does that make sense? Okay. So I don't want you to answer this. I just want you to think about it. Which ones of these? By the way, does anyone know what that is?
WebEx.
It's WebEx, is it? Thank you. I think it's not.
Or whatever you do. It's not called WebEx.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure we can add 100 different things onto there as well. Instagram's not on there, Zoom's not on there, blah blah blah, etc. etc. But which ones do you use? Which ones do you use at work?